Hey everybody, it's me Chase. It is the Live at 5, jumping on here at 5 p.m. Eastern, like I do most every week. For the last few weeks, it's been a little weird because of travel and some other stuff, but I'm gonna try to get more back into the regular schedule of coming here each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern to talk a little bit about the campaign and what we're up to, as well as just some other general stuff with what's going on. So feel free to follow us at votechaseoliver.com if you want to check out the website for the campaign. And of course, we always appreciate your donations. If you want to go to votechaseoliver.com/donate and become a donor supporter to the campaign, it is always appreciated. But yeah, so this week, it has been a kind of a get home and rest from Iowa week. I did come back with a cold, so I did have a couple days where I was just a little run down, but I just got done doing a radio interview this morning, and I will be doing a podcast tomorrow called the Fountainhead Forum. So I'm still getting out there and doing media this week, but this weekend I'm actually going to be spending time with friends and family, which is something I rarely get a chance to do. It'll probably be my last real week of being able to spend some extended time with my family before this campaign kicks into full gear all the way through November 2024. So I'm really looking forward to spending that time with my family, getting to see some friends, including a friend of mine from the UK who I haven't seen in years, who's flying into the country to spend some time. We're doing a little bit of a belated birthday celebration this week here in Atlanta. We have this thing called Dragon Con. It's a big sci-fi, fantasy, comic convention. It's one of the biggest in the country. So we're going to be celebrating down there, having fun, taking lots of pictures of all the amazing costumes that people create, and just generally enjoying ourselves. So this weekend will not really be a hardcore campaigning weekend for me because it is, like I said, one of the last, this will be like the last week coming up that I'll get to spend really extended time with family in this next 7 to 10 days that I'll get to see with my mom. As well, next weekend, I'm going to Dollywood to take my mom out for her birthday. She has demanded that I take her to Dollywood and ride all the roller coasters with her. If you've ever been to Dollywood, feel free to drop in the comments what your favorite roller coaster, favorite ride is there. But so let's just talk about what's been going on this week. Like I said, I got back from Iowa, spent a little bit of time, of course, reaching out to folks and calling people all over the country to let them know about all the amazing impact we've had in Iowa. We've gotten like a dozen media hits from that, as well as just a lot more in ways of donations. We've actually got the campaign going on full steam, thanks to that being on the ground in Iowa. I got to say, it was an awesome time being out there. You're never ever going to get the replication of having thousands of voters to be able to talk to you face to face and hear their concerns one on one. So that was always a treat. So that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about this poll that I put out here. So let me just pop it up here if I can share a screen here. Just give me 1 second. Right here. So let me just share this. Why not working? Share. There we go. So if you can see right there, I put up a little poll here on X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And I said, I want to end all of these things, but if you could end one tomorrow, what would be your preference? And the choices were eminent domain, qualified immunity, civil asset forfeiture, and the death penalty. And qualified immunity won the poll. 47.6% of y'all thought that was the best out of over 1,000 votes. Seconded was civil asset forfeiture, which if you're not familiar with that, that is where police basically act as road pirates. They will pull you over and without any trial or any real proof or anything, they can seize your assets because they can say, well, we believe that you have this cash on you because of XYZ or whatever. And it allows you to steal people's property, basically road piracy. So a lot of people are opposed to that, it looks like. Next up is the death penalty, which of course, like I said, I agree with all of these, but I think it is very important to remember that if the government even gets it wrong once with the death penalty, that's just an immoral murder by the state. So there's no way to guarantee with absolute certainty that they're never going to get that wrong. So the death penalty, by its very nature, is immoral. If we give the government the ability to put us to death, that gives the ability for them to control every aspect of our life, including ending it. And then lastly, with 10.7% of the vote, and I got to say I respect it, is eminent domain. So all these issues I've actually been talking about as I travel across the country to talk to voters about. Most recently was eminent domain in Iowa. I got back from there, but one of the things that the Libertarian Party of Iowa is really fighting right now is eminent domain, where the government is seizing people's land, people's property, particularly farmers' property, to build an energy pipeline using the power of eminent domain. I think personally, if an energy company wants to build a pipeline through your property, they should offer you a fair rate for that land. And you should be able to sell it if you want to. And if you don't want to, you shouldn't be forced to sell it. So I think eminent domain is pretty terrible. David, you say death penalty means there is no chance for redemption. It is the devaluing of life. Absolutely. It is just very wrong to just give the government the power to end your life. And when you say there's no chance of redemption, that's absolutely true. I would rather somebody, personally on my conscience, I would rather have somebody spend their life in prison as opposed to putting them to death, just because, like I said, there are a lot of people who end up being innocent later on, put to death. But you're right. Just killing somebody gives them no chance to redeem themselves in terms of, seeking redemption for their crimes. As a Christian, that's one of the biggest parts of my faith is actually the belief in redemption and the belief in forgiveness. And if we would just put people to death without giving them that time to seek redemption, again, that's a little immoral to me, just personally as a Christian on my conscience. I don't really support it. So, and of course, I talk about the death penalty as I travel across the country. I talk about how we need to reform the justice system at every step. And the death penalty is certainly a final step that we actually have to reform and outlaw and get rid of in this country. Every nation in the world actually doesn't have the death penalty. It's like us, Saudi Arabia, China, and a couple of other authoritarian states that still utilize the death penalty as punishment for crimes. And I think it's high time that we join the rest of the world. Most of our allies in Europe, Canada, and elsewhere that doesn't have the death penalty. I just think that that's probably just good policy. And as far as qualified immunity, of course, I've been ringing that bell since I ran for Congress in 2020, and it's something that still is near and dear to my heart, making sure that people are on an equal playing field with police and the court of law, and making sure that police don't have that extra layer of protection from liability when people are seeking civil justice and restitution for wrongs being done to them. And I think, if you want to join in that fight, there are states all over the country that are doing this right now. In particular, I just got back from Ohio, spoke with the Ohio Coalition in Qualified Immunity. They're putting ending qualified immunity on the ballot in Ohio this year. If you want to support that, if you're out in Ohio, get with that organization and help support them, because that's going to be a real tangible move for real justice reform that we need to see in every state all over the country. And if I were president, I would ask Congress to bring me a bill that that ends qualified immunity at the federal level for all federal law enforcement. And I would ask that every governor across the country follow suit for law enforcement in their state as applicable. But I'm actually, I'm kind of surprised, but not surprised the results. I honestly thought death penalty would have probably placed a little higher than civil asset forfeiture. I guess that just describes the fact that there are some people who do support the death penalty out there. Maybe that's what's skewing the numbers there a little bit, but civil asset forfeiture, there's really no excuse for taking people's property without any due process. If you want to be able to go through the proper channels of due process to say that, yeah, this was actually proven in a court of law that this was taken through ill-gotten means, and you now have to face restitution in a civil judgment, anything like that, that's different. But what you're seeing here with civil asset forfeiture is, hey, if I have 20 grand in cash because I just want to carry cash around on me, and I get pulled over by a police officer, a road pirate, and they want to say, oh, well, you have 20 grand on you, that's suspicious, we're going to take that from you on the suspicion that you are trafficking drugs or something to that effect. Happens all the time to people. Their good property is taken from them. There's Reason's done quite a bit on civil asset forfeiture. If you like Reason Magazine, they do tons of articles on that. Just search civil asset forfeiture. You're going to see lots of BS. One of the things that I did notice is a lot of people answer on this quiz that ending qualified immunity actually gets us to all these other things. That removing civil liability for bad policing and bad government allows us to work on things like ending civil asset forfeiture, ending eminent domain, and ending the death penalty. I kind of agree with that stuff. So let me know what you think. By the way, if you have any questions when you're watching this, feel free to drop them in here. Oh, I did want to clear up. I got a question from somebody who sent me a message asking me why I'm not participating in a debate this weekend. I kind of went over this at the beginning here. I am spending the weekend with friends and family. I was not invited to this particular debate before the graphic was made and the announcement of the debate was made. I was invited after the fact. And if I had been invited before the fact, I would have kindly let them know that I'm going to be busy. And, you know, that happens. Schedules conflict sometimes. Though I do look forward to all kinds of debates all over the country. I've done a few with Larry Sharp. He was an excellent moderator of a couple of forums. I did a debate. I've debated my colleague Lars Mapstead out in California. We did some debates, I believe, in Washington State with Mike Termott. You know, and then of course we had a debate with all three of us at PorcFest. So it just seems to me that there's going to be plenty of debates to go around, and I look forward to participating in them. Next up, what else did I have? Oh yeah. Let me just go through. I'm just looking through my notes here. Let me go back. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, one thing that I noticed, Cornel West, who he's running for the Green Party nomination for president. Are there video links for the debates? I don't believe some of them, I think, were filmed. I don't know. You'd have to ask individual conventions because that's where most of these happened. I believe the Washington State one was filmed. Check out LP Washington about that. I don't know if the California one was. I know as we get into convention season coming up, they are going to be video debates and live streamed. I know South Carolina has hired a videographer for their debates. I imagine other states are going to do similarly as we go across this. I know Georgia in 2020, they live streamed their debates. I was in the audience for that one. So I imagine that will be what's going forward. Thanks for the question there, David. But back to what I was saying, Cornel West, he's running for the Green Party nomination for president. He has come out against Cop City here in Atlanta. And I got to say, I don't agree with him a lot on everything. Of course, you know, him being with the Green Party, they support the state using the power of the state to try to solve problems. I feel like that actually creates more problems than it solves. But I am happy to see him speaking out and opposing Cop City. If you're not familiar, Cop City is a giant police training facility they're trying to build here in Atlanta. They're going to clear cut one of our largest green spaces. Property owners don't like it in the area because it's going to create more floodplains for them, as well as having the noise of a shooting range right near an elementary school. Other issues with property owners in the area, as well as we don't like having a giant militarized village to be able to teach police how to crack down on us door by door using kind of anti-insurgency militarized techniques. So there's lots of reasons: environmental, property ownership, anti-militarized police to oppose this facility. And I'm glad to see Cornel West joining the movement against it. The Atlanta City Council voted to fund this facility with $67 million of taxpayer money. And the people have risen up and started a referendum movement where we've gotten over 100,000 signatures to put this on the ballot. We needed about 70,000. So we're going to get this going and it'll be on the ballot. And so I'm encouraging people, once it does get on the ballot, to join text banking and phone banking to make sure that voters get out for that. So I watched a U.S. Senate debate last week. Very impressive showing. Thank you. It was the honor of my life to be able to get out there and debate the duopoly face to face. I only wish Herschel Walker had shown up so we could see what a real someone who's really exercising fiscal responsibility looks like. Someone who could really talk about gun rights in a responsible way. He missed out being an empty podium there, but what are you going to do? Herschel was scared. That debate is what sold me. He should be the voice of libertarians for the future. Well, thank you very much. Hey, and if you want to help me be the voice of libertarians for the future, you can become a donor supporter. Go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. Become a donor supporter. It's going to help me travel all over the country, which leads me right to my next question here, coming from Jordan Lott. Hey, Chase, when are you going to campaign in Utah? Chase for Liberty. Let's go, Chase. Well, guess what? I'm going to be doing a westward swing in the next month during the fall. I'm going to be hitting Idaho, Salt Lake City, Utah, New Mexico, and Denver, Colorado. So I'll be hitting 4 of the western states out there. And definitely go to votechaseoliver.com, join our mail list, Jordan, and you will know when I'm coming to your neck of the woods. I'll be out in SLC. I'm looking forward to it. I will be watching the movie SLC Punk on the plane as I'm traveling. It's my favorite movie set in Salt Lake City. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out to Utah as well as New Mexico, Colorado, and Boise, Idaho, knocking some states. Am I going to campaign in the Northeast? John Jones asks. Let me take a sip of lemonade and I'll answer that question. The answer is absolutely. So I've already been to Massachusetts and New Hampshire, but I'm going to be doing a New England swing in a little bit where we're going to be hitting several states throughout the Northeast. That'll be later on in the fall. We're going to be going right as the leaves are turning. Beautiful, beautiful backdrop to be driving through. It'll be a great trip through the Northeast. So I look forward to getting out and seeing some folks out there on the East Coast up north. It'll be a lot of fun. Need you in New Boston, Texas. I'm sure you can clean City Hall up if you won president. Well, here's the thing. My job, if I win presidency, is to clean up the federal government, the federal level. But what I want to do is I want to support candidates all over the country who are libertarians running for local offices. And I'm sure we can find somebody to run for City Hall. Maybe it's you, Daniel May, who's asked me this question. Maybe it's you in New Boston, Texas, who needs to run for City Hall and have a candidate for president who will go out there and help support you and help you win that race. Because there's winnable races all over this country that we need libertarians to run in, all the way from nonpartisan local races all the way up the ticket. And I want to make sure if I'm our nominee, I'm getting out and supporting those folks. So absolutely, I'm sure we can clean up City Hall. If we can elect a libertarian president, that means we're electing libertarians all over the country. And that's a world I want to live in. Absolutely. It's going to be a more free, more prosperous world for each and every person across the country. So that being said, if anybody's got any more questions, feel free to shoot them in there. But I am going to do kind of a little bit more plugging here. Of course, again, if you want to support this campaign, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. That's what's going to help me travel all across the West here. That's what's going to help me travel up in the Northeast and meet libertarians and new libertarians, people we can bring into the party, into the movement to grow this movement so that we can start winning in races all over the country and really having an effect and disrupting the duopoly in all 50 states. That's my goal. Is I want to make sure that the Libertarian Party grows, Libertarian Party is heard, and that we have an impact in the election at every level in 2024. That is my promise. If I am our nominee, is that I'm going to work my absolute hardest to get that done for you. I'm basically just doing this every day now for the love of it. So if you want to help me do that, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate and join. I realize the VP would be nominated separately by convention. Do you have a preference there? Well, you know, I have a long list of awesome libertarians out there that I would love to see as VP. But what I believe is that we need somebody who's going to help me in speaking to a new generation of libertarians. And I think it's important that we have somebody who is able to speak to the non-libertarians in the room who aren't libertarian yet. My biggest preference for a VP candidate would be, hey, let's find somebody that, broadly speaking, I can get along with, we can agree with. Let's sit them down and meet with them or her and say, you know what are the policy areas you agree on the most with me? Well, those are the ones that I want you to go out and push. If there's something you disagree with me on, all you have to say is please see the top of the ticket. I'm never, ever going to have a VP candidate have to say things that they don't believe in because, you know, there's a broad diversity in our movement. I just believe that that's being professionally courteous. But I trust that the delegates will, if I'm our nominee for president, they'll give us a great VP nominee. We have some wonderful people who are currently even running for president, but, you know, there could also be people who want to jump in and run as a VP candidate as this process goes along. And of course, we have thousands and thousands of awesome libertarians who have been candidates in the past or would be great voices as a partner on the ticket. So I'm not limiting that right now, but of course I am doing my job as a presidential candidate and looking all across the spectrum of the party and seeing who might be the best partner to help get us having the most impact in 2024. With that being said, you know, we're about the 20-minute mark here. I try to keep these around 20 minutes. You're always free to join me every Tuesday for the Live at 5 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to hearing from you guys here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I will also be hopefully doing a live via TikTok soon to start speaking to those Gen Z voters that we need to really activate as the next generation of libertarian voters. But for now, I'm going to wish you all peace, love, and liberty. Have a great day.